Alright, so today we're going to be starting a project where you're going to be finishing a very basic brick breaker game. And so I'll give you a little bit of an overview. When you open the project, you'll see it only has one package called game, and in that package there are 7 classes. The game window class simply opens a window. The game panel class you're going to be doing some editing on. This builds the actual game image and kind of hangs it on the screen. The brick and explosion classes are done for you, as well as the paddle and particle classes. The particle and explosion classes are just kind of little for fun. Now you can look at all these classes, and in fact you should kind of read over the paddle class because it's actually very similar in structure to the ball class, which is one of the main classes that you're going to be building. Now, the basic structure of the program is that, let me open this classic instead actually. I'm going to be using this tutorials program down here. So the basic structure of the program, this is where the game actually happens in the game panel class. You don't really need to know everything that's happening in this class. Certainly read over it and kind of familiarize yourself with it. We have a series of fields that are required to run this game, and you can look at those. And up here in the fields is where you'll be declaring a new ball object once you create that class of objects and fill it in. Then in the initialize objects method, you initialize the objects, just like in the same way that you do with the paddle. Now, the main game loop is built on a series of 3 things, and it's down here and you can look at it. It's called play game. This is the game loop. And so this method executes over and over and over the entire time our program is running. And so it executes this, what is this? It waits 20 milliseconds, so it executes it many times a second. So what it does is it updates all the elements. It calls a main update method, and that's where you're going to also add, as you structure this stuff, the ball, and the ball is going to be able to update itself. And then we're going to draw an image into memory. So it updates, it draws, and then it hangs the final image after it draws all the elements in memory on the screen with the repaint method, and then it pauses just for a second, or for 20 milliseconds, and then does it again. And the pause is just to make the game run smoothly and not to avoid screen flicker. This is a very basic timer. We can have much more extensive timers once we get more complicated games, but this is sufficient for this very simple game. So just know that it's doing 3 things constantly, over and over and over. It updates all the elements, so it moves them around the screen. Then it draws their final positions to memory, and then it repaints that frame. And so by doing this over and over and over, it creates the illusion of animation, or displays the sort of interaction of objects through an animation on the screen. So you're going to be editing this ball class, and there are a bunch of to-do statements, and once you complete the ball class, you're going to add it to the game and actually have a workable game. Now, I've done things like some basic collision detection, very basic, and so your game will actually be semi-playable once you execute all these to-do statements in this class and the game panel class. So that's just a little overview, and we'll be walking through it little by little together through these videos.